one of our show goals, besides just dude talking about just games and whatever, is like getting more of an insight into development and that process and seeing through that kind of curtain, because you don't hear a lot about it, honestly. Like, you hear about the games, you have a couple like hero figure type developers that people just know make games or are known for specific games, but the process, I think, is something that a lot of people love to know about, but we just don't get a lot of info.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Emergent Gamer Podcast, episode 178. This is your host, Neo Yoshi, along with Trip Zero.
What's up, everybody?
Today we have a very special guest, developer of Battlesloths 2025. We have Philip Johnson, right?
Yep, pleasure to meet you.
Hey, Phil, thanks for being here, man.
How y'all doing?
Great.
We're doing good.
Great. We got our comfy homes.
We got my little kitty here, too. She kind of hangs out on the desk.
She is special guest.
This is Mishka.
Mishka the cat.
I should be showing her periodically, asking her questions.
That's a great plug for watching this live, which we usually do every Sunday. So follow the Twitch channel.
I just met the lawn, so I'm having a prolonged beer. This is just what life is like in Texas.
You've earned it.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
How's the weather out there in Texas?
Hot. It's hot. It's pretty hot here. I don't like over 100 for like a lot of the weeks here in the summer. It was like 110 degrees for a few days. Like,
oh god.
Yeah, no, it can get brutal. If you forget, for me, like, I shave my head, so like if I forget to wear suntan lotion or something, like, it is like,
it just burns.
I do all right. I mean, I work a desk job, so I'm usually indoors.
Yeah, safe for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Well, tell us a little bit about that. You work for what's your company called? Something Collective?
So I got two jobs. My indie studio is Invisible Collective. I'm the founder of that. I'm one of the creators of Battlesloths. I'm kind of the person that had the idea, but it's created alongside. I would say the other principal members to be Randy Greenback, Adrian Leonard, and his brother Sebastian Leonard as the artist. Yeah, those guys are super awesome. So that's something I do on the side, and I've had like interesting levels of success. It was definitely like not anything I ever expected to be more than just some game that I worked on in like my bedroom in North Carolina when I was making it. It's kind of gotten taken on a life of its own in some ways. We have rap songs now. We have
you have rap songs?
Yeah, we got tons of those.
I watched one in the trailer. I found a trailer on YouTube when I was first checking the game out, and it was it was a good song.
Those guys are freaking awesome. So we have two songs, and you can find us on Bandcamp. We have a Battlesloths Bandcamp, and all the money that goes to those songs goes straight to the artist. We are not even like in the pipeline for that stuff.
Oh, that's a really cool collaborative process right there.
Yeah, it's just like we're kind of like, hey, like you guys are being awesome and helping us make these like really cool rap songs. We would like for you guys to benefit as much as possible from it. Be it
absolutely
kind of what would you say, kind of cross promotion, but also like if there was any money coming in for the music specifically, then they would get to have that stuff.
Absolutely.
So Middle Claws Up was the first song we did, and it was really funny because I had when we started collaborating with Michael Kill, I was unemployed. Michael Kill was also unemployed. We were just kind of like, I met him at this game dev meetup in North Carolina, and he had this name. I would have called the Michael Kill outfit kind of like just like Simon Pegg and Shaun of the Dead. Had like a shirt and like a tie, pocket protector,
Yeah.
kind of like a nerdy outfit.
Yeah, you've got red on you.
Yeah, he's like, I do IT and I rap, and I was, he definitely looks more like the IT person than the rapper. And kind of when I got home, I texted Randy and I said, hey, like, who is your friend Michael? If this guy raps, I just want to hear what it sounds like. And so he sent me to his Bandcamp, and I was like, holy crap! Like, this guy had made like 10 records.
Yeah.
And I started listening to his music, and I was like, this is nerdcore, because I was a bit maybe didn't really listen to that music so much. But Michael Kill's music was really interesting to me because he kind of focuses more on like how shitty it can be to be a nerd sometimes. And kind of he
Something
raps
we can
a lot
all
about,
relate to.
yeah, and he raps a lot about like just like alienation, depression, and those sorts of things. And so I joked with Randy, hey, we should get him to do a rap song for Battlesloths, and Randy was like, yeah, sure. As a matter of fact, like he'll probably get a bunch of his like nerdcore friends on it, and surely enough, we started doing this track, and we ended up with Sulfur, Adam Warrock, Jesse Dangerously, Mega Ran, and Chesky all in this
Yeah.
battles. Yeah, he's from Philly, so I'm sure y'all would be familiar with him.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, Mega Ran's been just a super awesome guy. See, that's how that happened. But during the day, I work for Panic Button in Austin, and we do a lot of what's called co-development. I got to work on Doom and Wolfenstein 2 for the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, wow. So you were part of the port.
Yeah, I was. I kind of rolled on, and it was really funny. I just, went over there, and they kind of put a Nintendo Switch on my desk and a dev kit. And they were like, "You're working on Doom," and I was like, "Are you guys crazy?"
Well,
surprise.
That leads me to two questions for you.
Mm.
They just announced that the new Doom Eternal will be day and date with the other launches on Switch.
Right.
Is-
I think that. Let me double check Panic Button's Twitter. I don't know
if they're working on it or not. If they're working on it.
I mean, we're very small. We're a very small studio. We've announced Wolfenstein 2.
Yeah.
And
Warframe you got coming.
Warframe.
Yeah.
And Subnautica. I'm working on Subnautica right now.
Nice. That's a good one.
But I'm pretty sure. I think we announced Doom Eternal.
Oh, I see. They worked on Ruby Grim Eclipse, which
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did the port for that. I wasn't there then.
Gotcha.
So basically, like my story with Panic Button is that we had a very rocky launch with Battlesloths, and I was just completely out of money. I had blown all my life savings on getting this game done and getting this thing out the door. So
I think
it's all good.
I have my so I had pretty much exhausted all my resources getting this game finished up, and we didn't really catch fire like we thought we would on Steam. And so basically, I just needed a job as soon as possible. And I had friends at Panic Button. They were like, "Come on over," and they signed me up on a contract like pretty quick. And
that's great.
Nice.
And now I'm with them. Yeah, they're really awesome people and very supportive of my indie work. Which
what do you think the odds are of getting like Battlesloths on the Switch's platform?
Oh, I think it's very possible. I know the hardware well, and it's a game in the Unity engine. So
it seems like it's a perfect fit for that platform.
Yeah, I agree.
It is.
I'd love to see it on the Switch. And we're continuing to support the game, and part of that work is leading up the ports and stuff. So we're updating the engine. I have like a second tournament branch that I'm making because when we were at RTX this past year, I started meeting members of the Rooster Teeth community, and I was kind of realizing that maybe one of the reasons that the game didn't take off was that we were not actively engaging the community. I guess after the launch, I was just super beat and tired, and we just kind of, it was time to focus on kind of stabilizing my life and stuff for a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
We had fans like trying to start up a Discord and stuff, so I didn't really know what it was. Because when you're making an indie game, you really don't have time to do anything else. So, I have my day job, but then I go home and work on Battlesloths. So I'm not really playing games online,
Right.
especially because being at the computer is like just damaging to your health.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
bad for your back and your shoulders and stuff like that. So
Especially when you're working at one all day anyway.
yeah, I don't generally don't play games on PC. I'll play games on PlayStation or Nintendo or something like that. So I met this guy who's an announcer, James Kirk. He was one of the Guardians in our booth, and it was,
Guardian those are the people that help out the RTX staff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Destiny mode, so I'm a Guardian.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's a very cool guy, esports announcer, and he announces for racing games in Britain. And so we're just joking about doing tournaments and stuff, and he's like, "Oh, I'd love to do that." I was like, "All right, well, if you think you can make that happen." Oh, I got cats are fighting now. Hold on a second.
Here it goes.
Oh.
This is action packed.
Mishka. Let it go, Mishka.
Cat fights.
All right. She's off. So it's just like, we'll do some tournaments and try to make some Norse for you guys. So I started making a special version of the game that is available on Steam if you just type in Sloth Warriors Only as the beta code.
Oh, nice.
I'll have to check that out.
I was going to ask, so for people who don't know out there or haven't checked it out yet, Battlesloth is a four player, either all humans or versus AI shooter game where there's different elements of collecting pizza slices and items to bring back to your home base to win. There's a couple different game modes. What would change, if anything, for the tournament branch versus the play with your friends at home version?
So since we're in the middle of updating the it's mostly because there's a bunch of like match options I wanted to add, and the engine update isn't complete yet, so the online is branch. So,
Gotcha.
But we added like a way for players to change the speed of the game, so it could be double speed or 1/10 the speed.
Oh wow, okay.
We've made it so that people can select their weapons when they spawn in. We've made it so that you could turn off all the weapons, and you can have just a weapon with unlimited ammo. So you could be just shotgun versus assault rifle, and just everyone has unlimited ammo, so you don't have to worry about
granular combat options, is what you're saying.
Yeah, just kind of like giving people the power to just kind of make the game their own. And before we were just kind of like being like, no, that's not Battlesloths. We don't want it so that people can select their weapons so everyone's equal when they go in. But now I'm kind of like, okay, well, if they want to change their weapons, it takes me like a few hours to put that feature in, so I'm going to do that. Obviously spending more time listening to the fans and making sure that they have the game that they want.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the kind of spawn in and grab whatever weapon is available to you. It's a very battle royale kind of feel, which is very in right now, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, you can still play that way if you want. But we also just made it so that, you could play it. Like, I wanted to kind of put some things in that would make it so that, if you were an announcer, you would have something interesting to talk about other than people changing their hats. Because hats aren't like a tactical thing. But if someone's like, oh, he's going for the bow or he's going for this and this, I'm like, okay, this is something that like people can chatter about.
Sure.
Other than just like waiting for the match to happen.
Right, exactly.
So the dream is that these features will be available, and we're also working on a big single player update, which is kind of like it's kind of like this kind of like a Robotron kind of game mode where you're fighting a bunch of robots, and it's still like the core gameplay of Battlesloths, but now it's you're fighting. We're working on like 8 or 10 different AIs for the game for this one mode. So it should be a nice. It's gonna be added for free onto the Steam version. and we'll be launching with that on ports when we get those.
Very nice.
Sounds great. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, good things coming in the future for Battlesloths. That's cool.
Yeah, I think so. And I think like really it's the community that's really energizing us and letting us know that this is the game that people want. Because for like a whole year, I just kind of go home and play this and work on this game and just kind of like, all right, I don't know if anyone cares about this anymore. We've been out for a year.
Yeah.
But just in the spirit of sheer determination and leaving no stone unturned, when we kind of discovered how useful Discord could be in building this relationship with our fans, we were just like, okay, we should do this. And we're going to do giveaways and Discord and find other ways to entice people there. We really want to make it the place for people to be introduced to the tournament branch and say like, this is the reason why you should come there, even though that, I could just say, just type in Sloth Warriors only and you can get access to that branch. We want, I don't know, some sort of way to entice people into that place.
Well, Discord is great for connecting and for building that community, and it's great developer and listening to people and being receptive to that feedback, because we've seen time and time again, doesn't matter if you're an indie dev or if you're a AAA studio, not listening to people, especially in this day and age, can be really damaging. If people want something and you just ignore it to say, no, this is exactly what we're going to make,
Right.
it's not working the way that you would expect it to, or that people are finding it. So it's good that you got that two-way street.
Oh yeah, I mean, part of it was just that we were just really tired. Like we had, we had just like crunched ourselves to oblivion. I had like lost all my life savings making this game, and
yeah, you just grinding away at it.
Then I was just kind of like, you get a toxic attitude towards your own art, and that's a really bad place to be emotionally. So like when people were making requests for the game, I'm just like, what am I fixing this game for one or two people that are still playing it? But I should have been doing that because I would have been telling their friends it's a better game. So I learned my lesson, and I think my feeling is that a good game's a good game forever. So like, if it takes a year for the game to take off, then it takes a year. So I'm not really the game, and we still want to. We still think it's going to thrive, probably, especially on other platforms. I think that are more appropriate for console games.
Yeah, like Neo was saying, it would be the perfect Switch game. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's really
pop it on tabletop mode and you're ready to go.
I mean, it's really typical for game developers to do things on Steam because there's no real gatekeepers.
Sure.
Which is also part of the problem, is like we're shipping on a platform that has, I think I had like 4,000 or 5,000 games shipped last year. I'm probably like underestimating. I think there was like 7,000 games that came out on Steam.
On Steam, yeah, it can get lost in the sea pretty easily that way.
Yeah, and like this is why we need things like Discord and the community, because it's like if we don't have a marketing budget and and fans aren't asking streamers to play our game, then like what I mean, it's kind of we need a community from the ground up to make this thing work.
Absolutely.
Simple as that, really. Like, yeah, I mean, like you could probably, I don't know how much it costs to pay a streamer to do shit, but you could probably pay like PewDiePie or whoever the kids like, pay them like $1 million to play your game. That's not really gonna make a difference, because like you just need to be hitting the gamers.
Yeah.
And that's what's been interesting about kind of our relationship with the Rooster Teeth community.
How have you seen that like help the release of your game?
Here's the thing: we realized that we weren't part of the community when we launched, and that might have been why we didn't really resonate with anyone. Because like we were just kind of, we had the Rooster Teeth games department say like, hey, check out this game Battlesloths, and everyone's like, that game all the way over there outside of our community, like here's Rooster Teeth and here's us over here, and we didn't even have our own community. So you know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to say like this is this cool game that no one's playing. When I was at RTX, kind of spent time with the games, made me realize that in this game, we have people play the game at our booth for like hours. They'll just play the game for like an hour, and then I'll go to a panel, and then I'll come back and play some more. So I'm just like, okay, well, what's this? People still like this game. And so what I realized is that we don't have a community, and we started a Discord just before RTX, and now we're up to like 80 people, and we haven't really been like hyping it too much. We're kind of like setting up the rules and all that stuff. So that's going to keep coming. But like just integrating ourselves into the Rooster Teeth community more has been, I think, useful. Because now like they have these city-based Rooster Teeth community groups. Like there's one in London, there's one in Seattle and St. Louis and California, Philadelphia, and now they're like going to be bringing the game out to their game nights. So
it's a
That's
great
awesome.
game night game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now it's like it was just really a matter of just like talking to these people and saying like, hey, like you want to key for the game so you can just like play it at your game night, and then now we'll have people advocating for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
How
That's
did
how it
that-
works. That community.
Yeah, how did that relationship with Rooster Teeth start? Like, did they reach out to you? Did
Yeah, basically.
collaborate?
So we were making Battlesloths independently.
Right.
Invisible Collective, we put out Battlesloths in Humble Bundle, and the first thing we showed it was let's see, it started off as a game jam, and then I lost my job, and then I was just kind of working on Battlesloths while I was unemployed. I actually wasn't interested. I actually wasn't even trying to be in the game industry anymore. I was just kind of burnt out on it and felt like I was done and didn't really think that I had a place in it anymore. So I was actually teaching myself how to make websites and stuff, and working on Battlesloths on the side, being like, well, I think this game is fun, so we're going to put it on Steam or something like that, and we'll do it on Greenlight. That was kind of like the thing. It's like I'll just work on this game on the side, and then try to get like a day job that's going to make enough money for me to realize this game. And I took the first job offer I got, which was all the way in Austin, Texas, for a company called Max Play. They were making like a game engine, so I was a UI engineer for them. They shut down like a year ago, so they're not around anymore. So when we were launching the game on Humble Bundle, I had found out about this thing in Austin called Wagos Rancheros, and it's this game night that happens every month in Austin, first Thursday of every month. It's at this place called the North Door, and local indie devs will set up their games, and then also have like just like a flagship game that they're advertising. Like the first night I went there was one of like Phil Fish's new VR games.
Oh wow!
So he's like running around on the floor of this indie night, and I'm just like looking around. And it's like, wow, this is way different from the indie scene in North Carolina.
Can I ask a question, Phil, real quick?
Yeah.
Do you have to be invited to that, or can you? Is it like open to people to bring things to try out and play?
It's just a public. It's just a bar.
Oh, that's cool. That's very
so
cool.
they prefer it if you ask ahead of time, so that they might set aside space for you.
Sure.
It's all run by volunteers. So hey, Mishka, she just on the table.
Mishka.
So she's running around. It's all run by volunteers. So sometimes I'll just bring it and I'll just say, oh, if they get mad, they'll let me know. Probably not, but it was just like sometimes I'll just bring the game and just be like, if it's a problem, I'll find out about it.
Yeah.
So the first night we showed
shoot first, ask questions later.
So the first night we showed it, it was the day before Humble Bundle. And we were a what do you call it? We were a Humble. What do they call it again? Humble Original. If you sign up for Humble Monthly, every month there's like a special indie game that is like exclusive to that bundle. So
and that goes under the original title.
Yeah, and we were like one of the first ones. There was only one before us called Elephant in the Room, and so we were the um, and so we set up the game there. And before this event, the only people that had ever played the game was just mostly like um, yeah, back when I was living in North Carolina and Floyd, I was living in this like farmhouse that my friend let me stay there for like $300 a month.
It's pretty good.
And yeah, she was really awesome, but she wasn't a gamer, so she had no idea what I was doing.
So
Yeah,
I don't get it, but do you think?
Heather was freaking awesome, and I owe her a lot. Very, very grateful to have had her in my life then. So, like, it would just feel like we had one of my roommates was working at a restaurant downtown. So after the restaurant would finish up work, these and blow off some steam, drink beers and kind of hang out, have like a little bonfire. And then these guys were playing Battlesloths. They're like, it's a good game. It's all cool. And I'm like, yeah, and I like games. Anyway, so this is like the first time we got to show it in public. This just immediately had an audience around it, just people gathering around, and I met a lot of really cool people that night. And one of them was Casey, who's the lead engineer for the Rooster Teeth Games team, who is head of the Ruby project. So he gave me his card, and he said, "Hey, we're thinking about publishing indie games like yours. Why don't you drop me a line?" And so I didn't know who Rooster Teeth was, so I just like left the card on my desk for 2 months.
Oh no!
Because I don't really watch YouTubers. I think the only YouTuber I watch is maybe like Super Bunny Hop or something.
Oh, he's great. I love that guy.
Yeah, I love him too. So I don't really watch like Let's Play or like I just didn't know Rooster Teeth content. So I left that card on my desk for like a few months. I guess kind of the part of me was like, well, the Devolver is right down the street. Let's talk to those guys first. But they had too much on their plate. So eventually we like talked to them, and they gave us a tour of like the studio area, like the
What'd you think?
airport. It blew my mind because we're like didn't know who these people were, and then all of a sudden we're like getting a tour of this like old airport. So
yeah,
like
multiple hangars set up as studios and different podcast studios. Yeah,
it was really mind blowing. And then the games department had like a little kind of like a they're all really nice people. They do a lot with like a very small team there, and so.
So you're going through and you're like, oh damn, these people are real.
Yeah, this is like a real place. Thing. So I had to convince Randy, be like, hey, like this is like a really huge place, and these guys have like a huge community. So basically like they said, hey, why don't you guys come to RTX and set up a booth there? And we're like, yeah, sure. So they comped us a booth, and we were just kind of like, okay, well, if we're going to RTX, was just the first time we ever had a booth at a convention. So we're like, if we do good here at RTX, then it's a pretty good likelihood that these guys will want to publish us. So I spent like $100 and I got like a TV, like a $200 TV and stuff like that. And so we just set up and we just like rolled hard all weekend. And we always had a crowd. We had people staying, people coming back. For a reasonably popular game within the indie aisle. So that went very, very, very well. They wanted to talk to us about publishing.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Was
That's
that
really
last year or this current year?
That would be. It was RTX 2016 is when we started talking to them, and I think they started taking us. They started taking PAX and Comic-Con and stuff. Or
I was just going to ask if have you decided, or what did you want to go to PAX at all? Because those are great indie booths. Great for indies. Yeah.
I'm sure like maybe it would have been better if we had our like. So I've gone to tons of conventions and we never get like interviews. We don't really get too many interviews out of it. We get a lot of people playing the game and stuff, but it doesn't really like translate to media or social media engagement or or like interviews or really like sales even, but like people were digging the game, so we know that like this is a fun game and it does have an audience.
Yeah, the product is good and has playability, and people keep coming back. So just getting it in front of as many as possible is really it's the move.
Yeah, that was kind of like the thing I kept scratching my head over. Just like how come we're not really like able to get noticed by you know and then this is kind of like why I'm just like turning to the community. We'll just like, okay, well, let's just hang out with the gamers that are playing the game.
Yeah,
and just like
honestly, the best way to do it.
And serve, make sure these people are served. You know. I guess I want to acknowledge that this is a media thing. This is awesome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, for sure, man. Thanks for chatting with us.
Oh yeah, this never ever pans out for popularity, but here we are.
One of our show goals, besides just dude talking about just games and whatever, is like getting more of an insight into development and that process and seeing through that kind of curtain, because you don't hear a lot about it, honestly. Like you hear about the games, you have a couple like hero figure type developers that people just know make games or are known for specific games, but the process I think is something that a lot of people love to know about, but we just don't get a lot of info. So it's always fascinated me, and I love hearing all the processes and the stories.
Yeah, man, like I was dealing with tons of health issues throughout the entire project, and it wasn't really until like a few weeks ago that I started having back pain.
Oh wow.
So I started switching to ergonomic devices, like this vertical mouse here.
Oh, look at that!
Oh yeah. Wow! So your hand holds it sideways, kind of, for the button.
Man, I got this like.
I noticed that when we were looking at Mishka. Yeah, the curved keyboard.
Well, she's covered this thing with fur now. She's over there. But yeah, ergonomic devices. Like this thing's saving my life. Like
yeah.
Turns out like this motion here is like literally twisting your arm, and then also it forces your shoulder into something called internal induction.
Mm-hmm.
Having it just in that forward.
Yeah, just like that. So like you see like that. Well, you see what I'm talking about, right?
I can feel it when I do it with my hand. If I turn my hand flat, you can feel the muscles.
So with the vertical mouse, then I'm just like it's like I'm in a yoga pose all day. But this doesn't like cut me loose or whatever. I still have to go exercise and like do yoga and stuff like that. But now I'm actually able to sleep better because I'm not like constantly damaging. I'm not doing extra damage to my body just by working at computers. So my computer is like 12, 14 hours a day. So I've got my work, and then I take a little bit of break, and then I'm hitting Battlesloths or something else at night.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a lot of opportunity for just like passive damage to your body. Like
I would say it's everything. I mean, this is like twisting your arm, like your elbow.
Oh,
your bones are like there's like these two bones in here, and so like when you use like a standard mouse, it's like literally just twisting like that.
Yeah.
So I got tons of knots in here that I'm trying to work through, and
now that you're making me call that out, I feel it.
You're making me feel all self-conscious about my.
I've been a huge like champion of ergonomic devices since like finding relief from this stuff. Like when I first started using this mouse, I was like, oh, this is comfortable. The second day, I started feeling a tickling where I had this big knot in my shoulder. It was tickling. It kind of made me nervous. And then day 3, like that loosened up. There was no pain there, and like my hip loosened up too. Like all the tension, it travels up and down my right side of my body.
Just from changing the mouse you were using.
And as I was demonstrating this to my coworker, a loud popping sound as I was twisting a loud popping sound like came out of my forearm. I could hear it from like 10 feet away.
Oh my god!
Some guy is like behind his desk, like, "You okay over there?"
I'm gonna look into these things seriously. You're doing a great job of selling them.
I say like this is like $20. So like I'm guessing that it might not be so good for gaming, but it might be good for everything else. And then, some people have will have TMSs. I don't game on PCs because it was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I always have a gamepad with me, so
I've never seen a mouse shaped like that. That is the first time I've ever seen like that wedge shape.
Mm-hmm. Like a sideways one.
Yeah.
My friend on Facebook is like, I keep knocking over my mouse, and it's true. Like because of the high profile, I'll just like constantly knock it over. I was like, what is that? What is a vertical mouse? And she's like, you need to get one. So
I need to find one so I can game with it, so I can keep
Gotta test it.
KD up.
I mean, if you can game with this, I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
But I'd like to know if people can do that. But yeah, fuck the standard mouse.
I mean, we'll experiment. We'll reach back out. We'll let you know.
Listen, people beat Dark Souls on DDR pads, so anything is possible.
That's a great point.
I just say, fuck the standard mouse for life. I'm not going back to that shit.
Yeah.
People are saying like, that's not right. How can you game with that? And I just say like, I haven't played games on a PC in like 5 years because it's uncomfortable for me. So I look a game on a PC. Now I can maybe do a little bit of it.
Things. What kind of games do you like playing? Like with controller on PlayStation or whatever?
Right now I'm playing Dead Cells and.
Hey.
Oh my god, so good!
It's pretty fun. Yeah, we talked about that last week on the show.
And I kickstarted Chasm compared to Dead Cells, which has such good movement. And everything. The game just lets you play however you want to play. If you want to like rush through, you get rewarded for that. If you want to like slowly go through and like kill the enemies and stuff, you get rewarded for that. If you want to like explore some weird quest, for that. If you want to be like a guy that parries a lot, we do that. If you want to use a bow, we do that. Like if you want to use traps, so it just does everything. It's so good.
You get spoiled when movement is that good and options are that good in the game.
Oh yeah,
it's
real smooth.
It's a game that it's a game that constantly bends its own rules, like the parry system. And I love like the dodge roll stuff. Like I do like the double jump and then I dodge roll and the character just nimbly lands on. It just like nimbly lands on the ledge and it's like, jeez.
They nailed movement.
When you play a game like that, Phil, when you're in it and you're enjoying a game, do you see it like Neo looks at the Matrix? Like, do you see like the lines? Are you like, oh man, look at that object interaction? Are you like just breaking it down kind of in your mind? Or do you kind of shut that off and just try to enjoy it for what it is?
Like I'm just I'll be perfectly honest. I tend to be like, sometimes I could be really jealous of like other indie successes and just be like, like our game is better than this game. Like, what's going on here? Like, but now with Dead Cells, I'm just like, bow down. Those are freaking great
they
games.
Did it.
Yeah, just like ready to just like how good it is. But no, do I see like the nuts and bolts? No, not really. I'm trying to just enjoy the game. Yeah. I could see how I would make it, but that game has a lot of polish. Like just everything in it is just really well done and really well designed. They obviously just had people dedicated to the movement and combat for just the entirety of the project.
Yeah, nice.
Well,
yeah. What do we got? What else? What do we want to find out about you that we didn't? These are really good conversations. Kind of the
I'm glad
behind the Phil curtain here.
Now you mentioned being from Philly. Did you have any like development background here in Philly?
Did I have any background in Philly? So I'm from like Oxford, Pennsylvania, which is cool. Chester County. Born in Media, and then we lived in Kennett Square for like a few years in my early life, and then we moved to Oxford, Pennsylvania. Actually, I guess that's like where we went to school. Actually, I lived in Lincoln University, which is like historically mostly all black students in the student body there. So we're kind of like a weird neighborhood actually, because it'd be like, tons of Amish people and tons of students from the university, and professors, and then also just like I don't know, just like hillbillies.
Yeah, it's a great combination.
It's not really. It's a kind of a. Now looking back on it, I'm kind of like that's kind of like a weird place. It is kind of amusing that one of the people that if there was someone else famous from Lincoln University that wasn't famous for like like Thurgood Marshall or something. There's this other guy who we was a little kid. He ended up becoming like a Juggalo celebrity.
A Juggalo
celebrity.
Yes. He is the subject of this documentary called American Juggalo 2.
Oh my god,
Huh.
that's funny.
So we used to play video games all the time when I was growing up. I would go over to his mom's house, and we would play Nintendo. And that one day he was out riding his bike along the train tracks, and he got pulled under and lost both of his legs.
What?
I had a helicopter. Yeah, I had a helicopter come and pick him up, and he went to the hospital, and he's been in a wheelchair ever since. So,
oh my god,
shit, that's crazy.
Yeah, and but he's got like 5,000 friends on Facebook, and he's like, he's just I don't really know like ICP or Insane Clown Posse all that much, but it's very amusing having this person as a friend of mine. Because we haven't really seen each other in a very long time.
You're viewing to another world.
It's like we haven't seen each other in a very long time, and then all of a sudden, this guy's like a famous juggalo. You know what I mean? It's kind of nuts.
Crazy.
So I think I found the right link. My computer is being weird right now.
Oh yeah, it popped up in Discord.
Playing a juggalo. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Alex. So yeah, the Juggalos too. There's just a very interesting makeup of people there.
Oh, 100%.
Yes, I went to the school downtown in Oxford, and kind of the only in town was you're destined to just work at a potato chip factory or something, and just kind of I don't know. It's really easy for you to kind of give up on things that are ambitious, but
Sure.
Our
It's that
parents
small
are very
town
supportive.
like magnetism,
Yeah, no, like our parents were pretty supportive. They always like whenever we were trying to do something creative, they would always be like, "Yeah, go do that. Go have fun. Go have a band." My brother had a band. Him and I like to make like little movies when we were growing up until like the camera broke and we were just too broke to get another one, so we stopped doing that.
The forced end to creativity. That's a shame.
Yeah, I think so. What happened? My mom worked at like a convenience store, and my dad was like an electrician at like an air hangar. He would like work on helicopters and stuff. So we didn't really have anyone that knew computers at the house, or we're kind of like we're a working class family. So one day, I think my dad had I don't know what the heck happened. We like traded like a piano or something, and we ended up getting like an old 386 compact computer, like just kind of like a Tandy monitor, and because I was obsessed like with the Nintendo and stuff. But when we got this thing, I was like, oh, this can play games too. So I was spending a lot of time.
Yeah.
I was spending a lot of time trying to like get it to play games. And then we got like a slightly better one that had like a color monitor and stuff. But it wasn't like my parents were teaching me how to use it. There was just there, and no one else was using it, so I just like messed. It was basically just being used for games, because back when it was like the DOS operating system and stuff, it just wasn't really like wasn't really useful for much else for my family anyway. It wouldn't be seen as useful for anything else really. So I got like the Wolfenstein shareware, which ended up being like a real moment for me a few months ago when I was working on the motion controls for Wolfenstein 2, and you can go to that arcade machine in the game and play Wolfenstein 3D. And
it boots it back up.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm playing the game with the motion controls that I just implemented. I'm just like, this is so cool. I can't believe I'm doing this.
Yeah.
It was definitely a very special moment for me. Like especially considering how powerful the narrative is in those games, the new ones especially. So
Sure.
I was just messing with the computer a lot. Like I know how like dedicated young gamers are because I spent like 3 months trying to get Doom to run on this thing, and I failed. I never figured it out. Just the hardware wasn't good enough for it. But I spent like a whole summer trying to like mess with it. By the time we had a better computer and other games came out, so I never actually got too much time with Doom. So I don't really have as much of that in my DNA as some others might have.
Yeah.
Because by the time we had gotten a better computer that could run Doom, it was like time for Duke Nukem and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh man, those are the days.
Yeah.
I remember when all those were coming out.
So let's see. I guess like my first job I was like a cashier at a department store in Oxford called Ames, which I think they're all gone now. But there might be a few. There might be y'all might remember a few of those. And worked there for like a few months, and then my dad's like, hey, like my boy's pretty good with computers. Why don't we just bring him in to the office, and he can work here. By this point, my dad wasn't working as a mechanic anymore. He was kind of more doing like this roof consultant business that he got involved with, and so he had like an office job now. And so I was there, and they were just like teaching me how to do AutoCAD, and I was cranking out drawings for this company.
Nice.
Unprofessionally, by the way. I didn't know what I was doing, so
you were learning. You were hands-on, almost the same way with the computer. You had something in front of you. And
I have no idea if what I was doing was illegal for them because, like, so I was not a trained mechanical engineer. So, like, eventually, you know what I mean? Like,
we'll redact that from the VODs after.
I mean, that was a long time ago, so I'm guessing their business partners are happy with the work.
Yeah, right. If there's been no complaints at this point, then I think we're safe.
Yeah. And then I guess in high school, started going to a vocational school. Because all my friends were like, thought I was kind of weird for wanting to do this, but there was this computer called Cat Brandywine, Center for Arts and Technology, Brandywine campus out in Coatesville, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
So every morning I would have a bus, and we would drive like a half hour out to Coatesville, do this like vocational school in the morning, just mostly like computers and math and stuff, and then I would take the bus back to the high school for like my afternoon. So kind of hurt a lot of like my social development because we were just like not there in the morning where everyone else was. So like that sort of, when you're in two schools every single day, it's just kind of
it's not it's not an environment that a lot of other kids are in. So there's probably some alienation that happens, which is unfortunate for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was all also male dominated. Feel like one or two women in the program. And then, I didn't we would do a little bit of programming there, but we got to do whatever we wanted for like our class projects. So I think one year I did like a comic strip.
Mm-hmm.
And then another year we did like a text adventure, me and my friend Josh. And then one year I did like a level, a Half-Life level using like
nice.
What I forget what it was called. I think it was called Forge, whatever the Half-Life 1 engine was. And that none of those things had programming. I wasn't doing programming for the text adventure. I was like writing.
Yeah.
So it came time to go to college. I went to Westchester University for about a year. I was undeclared, and they wouldn't let me into the computer science program because my math scores were so bad. And then I was just kind of like, fuck this place. Like,
right.
It's like, if y'all aren't going to let me into the computer science program, then I'm going to go somewhere else. So I went to Millersville where they had lower standards. And I always make that joke. I always make that joke.
Man.
I always make that joke when I'm doing talks for my professor in Millersville, and he just kind of shakes his head at me.
That's great.
Yeah. So I went to Millersville and got enrolled in the computer science program there, and also started doing the college radio.
Oh, nice. Cool.
It was just tons of fun. To be perfectly honest, I didn't really get along with people in the computer science department. Not that we were mad at each other or anything. It just like we're very like kind of people that just didn't go out and do things.
Sure.
And so just kind of all my friends in college were all like English majors and musicians, and I could just see it in their face that they weren't interested in like making art or anything like that. They were just like wanted to get like just kind of like the big making jobs.
Right.
I was kind of like realizing that I was kind of heading towards like maybe a career that I wasn't excited about. So I actually ended up at a second major. So I started taking philosophy. So I actually have a double major. And philosophy has been an extremely important thing for me to have in my life. But with computer science, it's just like I hate this. Like this is not fun for me. And I started making kind of like asking my professors if I could just like make my own classes. And I started doing independent research. Like I was just like looking at some of the classes that were being offered, and I'm just like, I'm not really interested in this sort of stuff. Can I do this instead? And if you find professors that will take you under their wing and let you do independent research, then they'll let you do that. You'll get credit for it.
That's great. Yeah, 'cause I'm sure a lot of the courses that were there were focused on like probably networks and infrastructure and going to some business and company and handling.
Yeah, you know what? I should have paid attention in those classes. So
it's all the stuff nobody wants to do.
So I just kind of I started doing. I did like one year. I did like a synthesizer. I made like my own synthesizer in C#.
Wow.
And another. Then like I was talking to my professor saying like I think I'd rather be digging ditches and listening to the radio than like signing up for like a bank stop for a job. I said that basically the two paths I set up before myself was I'm going to make games or I'm going to join the Peace Corps. So we started doing more independent research projects. I started getting involved with. He was trying to make like an engine from scratch. I was integrating. I guess at that time it was called a GIA PhysX, but it was brand new then. So we started putting that stuff in. And then I was kind of in danger of graduating. I wasn't really quite ready. So actually, this is when I decided I was going to get a second major and also get computer science and philosophy. So I did a semester abroad, and I'm still paying for it. It was expensive.
Oh, I'm sure. Where'd you go?
London.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was amazing. So when I got there, my first week there was it was like the London, I don't forget what it was called. It was like a game developers conference. I guess my thought was that like if I go to this conference, maybe I can get like an internship. And I'm glad I didn't do that because I was doing what I should have been doing in London, which is like getting drunk with a bunch of British people and taking a bunch of easy classes and stuff. But I found out how approachable the game industry was there because, I was talking to these people. It's like, oh, I'm talking to the guys that made Worms. I'm talking to talking for people from Sega, and it was kind of funny actually because every table had like it was like a job, it was like a career fair. So a lot of these tables had like pamphlets and stuff. Like here's how you used to submit your resume, and I didn't even have one, but I would take them and I go over to the Team 17 booth. And I was like, I love Worms. A lot of places have like cookies and pamphlets and stuff. The Worms team had like just bottles of liquor, and they were just like pouring out drinks for people.
Hell yeah!
they're pretty like they're pretty funny too. Like they're just like, "Are you really good at what you do?" And I was like, "I don't know." He says, he "Never say that you aren't the best at what you do.
It's good advice.
Never not say that you're good at what you do." So I didn't really get any internships or whatever there, but I kind of found how approachable these people are, and when I got home, started getting involved in like the local game dev stuff, like the IGDA, which I'm hoping still has a presence in Philadelphia. Maybe not these days.
What's it
But I
called?
started
Again?
going to those meetings. IGDA, International Game Developers Association.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But I'll find out.
So I would go to that meeting, and just to give me an idea of like not only how approachable they are, but how like. So I show up at the first meeting, and there's 5 people, and one of those people was looking for a programmer, and so I submitted a resume, and they brought me in.
Easy.
Yeah, so like I never got to do Peace Corps, so I got hired straight out of college. It's like as soon as I got my degree, I was just made my way to Philadelphia. Got to work on like kind of serious games projects for the military, just kind of like educational software. And after about a year of that company shut down their games department, and I ended up having a friend there who got hired and moved to North Carolina, and so I kind of followed him down to Red Storm Entertainment, the guys who make famous for Rainbow Six and Ghost Recon and stuff like that. I had not played any of those games, so when I did the interview, I kind of faked it.
What time period was this?
That would have been like 8 years ago, I think.
So were they in the middle of like making the Vegas games?
They're in the middle of making a game that got canceled, actually.
Oh.
So like the Vegas team was, I think, in Montreal, I think.
Okay.
Now like Red Storm they're doing like the Division and VR stuff. I don't actually know what they're working on now. I haven't been there in a while. But when I came up for my interview, they were like, "What would you do to Ghost Recon?" And I basically started pitching like what ended up. I'm not saying I'm responsible for this game being made or whatever, but
it was made.
But the thing, this is not what I'm saying. The ideas I was pitching was like stuff that ended up like Wildlands is basically what I was saying that should be the kind of game that they're making. They should be making with Ghost Recon.
Wow.
That I was not responsible for that in any way, shape, or form. It was probably the guys who did Far Cry actually kind of really carried that torch.
Yeah.
Because when I was playing like Far Cry 2 or 3, I'm just kind of scratching my head, being like, why isn't Ghost Recon more like this?
Doing something similar, yeah.
It's funny that you bring that up because we've had conversations about when similar games get released. You're like, well, what's the deal? You know, like it's the same game. Why do people put this out if they know that people are working on these? But then you realize you dive into the story a little bit, and a lot of times people don't. You're working in a development vacuum, and people just have similar like thought processes. If their games is similar and leads to the same things. So you were on that trend apparently. You know.
Well, I mean, like, I just found Ghost Recon and Rainbow Six were super boring games. I never got into them. they just weren't my kind of game. So I was just kind of like, well, here's what make me want to play it.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see, they've turned themselves around today into being pretty great games, actually.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the people that are really into Ghost Recon, they've been celebrating those games for a very long time. And thosn't mean that those were also great games, but they're just not games that I enjoyed playing. So,
sure.
I guess we could talk about the game jam because basically, like, about a year or two into my time at Red Storm, I got invited into join the creative direction team. So I was hired as a UI engineer. But I kind of came in, and I'm just gonna always go over to the creative directors and like talk about ideas and stuff. So about a year or two in, they invited me to join the creative direction team.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm a pretty big charlatan when it comes to game math. I'm very bad at like vector math and dot products and matrices and all that stuff. My job in the creative direction team is to make prototypes, and it was me and four concept artists and 2 creative directors. So it's very like. Eventually, I got rolled on to Ghost Recon Future Soldier and stuff like that.
Wow.
But I would, there was the projects they were working on, and that team never really like took off. So let's see. Years later, there was this game jam, and I had asked like a few of my friends if it'd be okay for me to be their creative director, so to speak. Yeah, I was having a lot of health problems then, and wasn't sleeping well, and yeah, my insomnia was in full swing, and so I was performing very badly at work, and I was never really like a super amazing programmer, but now I also wasn't able to sleep, and so it was kind of like really hard for me to perform at work, and yeah, it was time for me to go. But this game jam was kind of like a last ditch effort to kind of save my career there, and it was these guys that like gathered around, and they decided that they were going to let me call shots and be like the lead developer. We were all learning the Unity game engine at the same time, and so I had pitched this game idea about like a rock and roll musician that kind of travels to other dimensions and fights aliens and stuff, and they were like, we don't really like this. I could tell that this idea wasn't vibing with the team.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, we've had like running jokes about slops for a while, and every week we go to the same pizza place. We go to Randy's Pizza in North Carolina, which is a pretty solid place. And so we had like a kind of a round table, and I think they're kind of fucking with me when they did this. They're like, "Can we add slops to the game? Can we add pizza?" And I was like, "Yes, yes." And then I'm just kind of like panicking and scratching my head, being like, "How the fuck am I going to make a game about sauce and pizza?" So I go home and I tossed out my other pitch, and then basically being like, "Well, what can we make with a small team?" We didn't want to have AI. We didn't want to have net code either. So we just decided to make a party game. It's a very good option for a game jam because everyone just kind of brings their own fun to the game. And so I was a big fan of Samurai Gun. It was my party game at the time, and also way into Geometry Wars and Hotline Miami. So
yeah, those are great.
So I can definitely see a lot of Hotline Miami in some of the gun movement.
Yeah, we're just kind of also just kind of like some of the conversations I had with designers at Red Storm about tension and about how like when you have low health, the game becomes more tense. Yeah. And so we were just like, okay, well, let's just not have health. Everything's a one-hit kill and classic arcade rules. And then we were like, and they're sloths, and when they die, they drop slices of pizza. And then those are your points. You take them back to your base, and that's how the game was born.
That's the cool thing about a game. It doesn't have to make sense. That's what happens. Except
I wrote down Battlesloths, and I was like laughing at it. I can't believe I'm going to pitch this game to these guys. And so I made a Google Doc, and it was just pictures of sloths and maybe like a few like 1 or 2 paragraphs about what the game was. And not only that, like there's tons of stuff in this one little pitch that never made it even to the game to this day. Like there's just too much. Like we stripped down a lot of the game. There was like a ghost. There's like a ghost world that sloths could go to, and you could fight other sloth ghosts to like get like an extra life back. This is like when we wanted to do the game. Cool. Like, like that game Prey, where which one would it be? I guess the old Prey, where you would die and you would go to the ghost world. Was that Prey? You had to like fight a bunch of spirits that come back. I was just kind of like, that would be fun to have in like a shooter where you could kind of like fight other players who have lost all their lives, and if you can kick enough ghost butt, you could spawn back into the regular game. So this never made it.
Cool idea.
That was going to be like Sloth Valhalla, and it was someday.
I like it.
Someday I'm going to do that. Who knows? Maybe we'll get to do a 3D version of the game that's online or something.
There's still no netcode in the game to this day.
It's online. It's just at its heart though, it's a party game. So let's see. I guess people might want to ask about the hoverboards because someone in the game jam team were like, "What's that? Roller skates to the game?" And I was just kind of like, "Roller skates." I didn't want to say no because it's a game jam, and I'm like, "Okay, well, this person's working on this game for free." So I was like, "Yeah, just what, go for it. Let's see what happens."
Right.
And so they put that in, and our artist made like a little skateboard for it. We said these sloths had skateboards. And when I got my hands on it, I was like, these don't really feel like skateboards. I feel like hoverboards. And we just kind of all like looked at each other, and then
yep, light bulb goes off.
Yeah, and then our artist started putting hoverboards in the game, and then all of a sudden, this game takes place in the future.
That's where 2025 comes from.
Yeah, so the game jam went very well. Like we kicked butt. After the game jam, people were playing this game for like 2 hours. There's lots of presentations, and we had a really weird marketing campaign for ours where we had like and they all had names. Like Slow Pace Killer was one of them. Was my favorite one.
Nice.
And we had like a fake start screen that said Slow Life, and it looked like kind of like a really cute. It was all these sloths kind of like sitting on a hill, and it was very peaceful music. I think we stole it from like Animal Crossing or something. But when you press start, the colors shift into like a hellscape. Like there's like the river was like a blood river, like a bush was replaced by a pile of sloth skulls, and all the sloths got weapons spawning through their hands, and they start shooting into the air like crazy people. And then the title Slow Life disappears, and Battlesloths pops in, and all this metal music, like it was nuts.
That's awesome.
It was fucking crazy, and I wish we found a way to keep it in the game, but it's because it's like, when you're trying to make a game a product, you don't want to like hide what the game is when you're trying to tell people about it.
That's a good point.
So we immediately had people being like rushing up to the front to play the game. It's like we had a fully playable game with like almost no bugs.
How long did that all take? That time frame?
3 or 4 days. We had 3 or 4 levels. We had a team variation. You could play 2v2. And that was just,
damn.
It went really well.
3 or 4 days. That's insane. That's amazing.
And about a week later, I added a nuke to the game. And the nuke, if y'all haven't checked out on the game yet, it's I guess this thing was inspired by that TV show Lost.
Yeah.
I guess spoiler alert. There's this like thing in the Lost universe where people have to punch in this number, like every 24 hours or something.
Push the button.
Yeah, they had to push the button. So, I was like thinking like, I'd love for this to be in the game. I was like, what if there was just a bomb in the center of the map, and then if you didn't push the button, then it would kill everyone.
I saw someone do that during the Rooster Teeth playthrough.
Yeah.
Go through and disarm it.
Yeah, so like as temporary peace, or sometimes people will defend the nuke if they want to catch up. So what we did is when the nuke goes off, it kills everyone and cuts your score in half. Everyone's score in half. So if someone has 20 points and you have, 10 points, you get cut down to 5. They get cut down to 10. So you have an opportunity to catch up.
Yeah. Nice.
But that was I'm like super happy to keep that feature in the game. It wasn't like too weird. Because I really love the nuke.
No, it's a cool dynamic for sure.
Yeah, I do like that.
I guess shortly after that is when we started meeting Michael and doing the rap songs and the Humble Bundle thing. And now we're kind of working towards ports, and I guess my dream for the tournament branch is that we'll eventually have in-game brackets.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, we need to get the community involved and figuring out like how we're gonna do that, like what features they would find most useful. And
yeah, I mean that's a perfect use for Discord. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're gonna be engaging the community about that.
Nice. Very
That's
cool.
some cool stuff to look forward to.
Yeah. So we've kind of got the whole story of Battlesloths. We're at our episode time. How long we usually run? Neo, did you want to throw any other questions or points?
Not. Oh.
Did you want to throw anything else in there, Phil? Too.
It's my cat.
I heard Mishka down there.
No, I think we're just trying to get people fired up. Come hang out with us in Discord. We're continuing to support the game, and we got some cool stuff on the way that I can't really talk about. Hopefully, within like the next 1 or 2 months, we'll be able to make announcements. I know we're excited about it. So
yeah, I mean, seeing the game being played looks insanely fun. Definitely want to hop on there and give it a shot. If anyone watches any YouTube videos or gameplay, it becomes apparent that this is a great group game for sure. It's got high replayability. It's fun. It's engaging. It doesn't take itself seriously, and that's a great thing. It's just fun. So we'll definitely get all of your links posted in all of our socials and stuff. What I would do is say it on the podcast for us, just so people are listening, they can hear this and they can just type it in if they want to. Just as much exposure as possible. So if you want to rattle off any important handles or channels or anything.
Okay, so on Twitter we're Battlesloths WoW, and okay. I am Invisible Thrill on Twitter. So if y'all want to follow me, we are on Facebook as Battlesloths Game. Let's see, our Discord, we have a verified Discord. We're Battlesloths on Discord. So nice. If you do discord.gg/Battlesloths, end up in our cool chat. And lots of cool stuff will be going on there. We do a weekly dev stream on Wednesday nights. Usually our artists will create hats from scratch, and you can go into our chat and request a hat. He'll make it right there. And that's awesome.
That was a selling point on your website. I just want to call out there. It was like, it says something about like way too many hats.
Yeah, it's a UI nightmare because like we got over 1,000 hats. We have 1,100 hats in the game now.
Oh, that is not hyperbole. There are a lot of hats.
That could be a lot of work. I'm all about the combat. I love the hats and everything, but I'm there to murder sloths.
Yeah, and so is everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, Neil, I think that's it. That's all I got.
Wraps it up.
Cool.
Yeah, it's great hanging out with y'all.
Thank you for joining
Thank you
us
so
today,
much, Phil. Yeah. It was great. I am Trib0. You can find me on all of my socials at Trib0TV @/whatever. That's always the end of it.
And I'm Neo Mixer. And I'm Neo Aoshi. You can find me at Twitter at Neo_Aoshi and Twitch at Neo Aoshi. No one.
Excellent. Again, thank you, Philip Johnson from Invisible Collective. Check out his game Battlesloths 2025 on Steam and look for it in the future on other platforms. Pray for the Switch. Pray for the Switch. We need it on Switch. Cool. All right, everyone. See you later. Have a great day.
See you.
Take care.